This item was also discussed at the Administrative Committee last week, and some details have changed along the way, so we brought it forward this evening to mention those and to talk about the Steiner White Avenue Highway 8 underpass opportunity for grant funding. This project was originally presented back in 2011 with a student group from the University of Idaho, an engineering class. Was presented in several phases. The most recent discussion happened in February of 2015, where at that council meeting, council directed staff to look for potential grant opportunities to fund this project. The idea is that the Paradise Creek Bridge structure would include a pedestrian and bicycle underpass linking that area to Paradise Path, the Latah Trail, and other bicycle networks in the community. The grant opportunity that's been identified is the Transportation Alternatives Program. It's formerly known as Community Choices. When we first discussed this project last week, we were looking at costs and had estimated that they would run $425,000 with a potential match of $31,000, give or take. And then as we've researched the project further and looked at the program itself and the structure, costs have changed a little bit there. The revised total project cost estimate would now be $539,380, would result in TAP funding of $499,790, with matching funds at 7.34%, which would be $39,500. Some of the costs take into account, additional hydrological and geotechnical work, structural work primarily under the bridge, and safety needs to be addressed from the bridge at Blaine Street to the entrance of the county fairgrounds in that area. We also were able to meet with ITD's District 2 representatives, which is part of the application process, and we did a site visit and spent some time with them last Wednesday. In discussing the potential for scheduling with them, it looks like design could happen in FY17 with construction in FY18. There is an option too, depending on the program, that it would be 18 and 19, but they said 17 and 18 looked likely for us. With the design phase match requirement in that fiscal year, it would be $5,315 in FY17. And then for the construction phase in FY18, our match requirement would be $34,275. In the current fiscal year, the budget, there are $10,000 allocated for Paradise Path improvements. There have been no projects identified for that funding at this point, and it hasn't been expended. The thought was perhaps to roll that over into the next budget year, include that as our match for the project, kicking it off with $10,000, leaving only the $29,000 and change remaining for FY18. That said, our application is due June 1st. Those are it's basically funding levels that we would have to change. The project itself has not changed to date. And we're looking for approval to move forward with that if you'd like us to.
Questions for Jen? Dan?
You know, not a question. I just wanted to comment that this is, like we said, this first come up in 2011. I think at that time I was on the liaison to the Paradise Path Task Force, and you know, it was one of those things that just was found, and these students brought it forward, and you know, brought this neat plan up for it, and I know Jim figures we can go out there with a couple number twos and get it done in a weekend, but you know, this we talked about how, as if grant funding came available, we would pursue it, and it looks like our opportunity's here, so you know, I'd look forward to seeing it happen.
Yeah, I'd add to that when I was on the Pathways Commission, Paradise Path Task Force, this was one of the #1 items that they wanted to see done, just to enhance the connectivity of the pathways in and around Moscow so that people don't have to dodge the traffic on Highway 8 to get from the body of town across to the Paradise Path. And I think it's a really good thing to see that grant funding has been located, and we're applying for it, I hope, in the next few minutes, because I think it really suits the goals of the citizens of town very much.
Jen, can you elaborate upon the last comment in the packet about collaboration with the Urban Renewal Agency and the North Latah County Highway District?
Yes, I'd be happy to. A portion of the project, specifically the bridge piece, lies within the Legacy Crossing Urban Renewal District. And so talking with the URA and asking if they'd be interested in partnering on that and assisting with the match funds. That discussion started, and they're meeting next week, and we'll perhaps discuss that at that time. I believe it's on the agenda. So, and then with the White Avenue section, there's some sidewalk section there that borders the county fairgrounds and the North Lake Tahoe Highway District to see if there's an opportunity to work on some of the sidewalk pathway section within there to complete it.
So,
And discussing that.
so that would be work above and beyond the underpass part.
There is a small portion of sidewalk that's not included in the pathway, and the project itself includes quite a bit of pathway and the underpass, but there's a small section of sidewalk there that we looked at making that final connection through to connect both sections.
Okay, and if I may, one final comment. I noticed the funding is up to $500,000, yet we're only asking for $499,790. I'm not sure why we would want to leave $210 on the table, especially
Somebody
if
else might need
ITD
it.
is
Might
indicating
have a little
there.
project.
Pardon?
Somebody might have a little project, Walter. Give them a chance.
These
Oh,
things
this is
always
big
run
reading.
over, Walter.
Once you get it, you got it. Then you got to come up with a difference. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Walter. Dan?
I would recommend, let's see, make a motion to recommend approval to submit this application to the Idaho Transportation Department's Transportation Alternatives Program for the Steiner White Avenue Highway Underpass Project, not to exceed $500,000.
I'll second. Okay, Dan made a motion and seconded by John to submit the application to the Idaho Transportation Department for the Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP, or Steiner White Highway 8 Underpass Project in an amount not to exceed $500,000. So that'll start to roll with Walter.
Aye.
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 Okay, we're good to,
If I may, just one thing. This is a project that I don't typically work on, or I've been happy to assist other people, but being able to work with Elisa and Bill, Scott Bontrager, Kyle Steele, Kevin Lilly, we've got some pretty amazing and talented people. It's been really fun to be able to work with them, and I'm learning a lot, and I really appreciate their time and working through this with me. So
it's
thank
always
you.
good to surround yourself with those that are really good at what they do, Jen. You're welcome. Thank you for the presentation.